Hey hikers, Andy here, one of the co-founders. So as always, this is our monthly update email or video where I'm going to run through what's gone live on the platform over the last month. So yeah, there are three things I want to run through. The first is our new similar pages action, which I'll run through first. Next is our new crawler, which there isn't much to show you, but I can talk over it. And then the last one is just how we've adapted the untracked keywords and the competitor keywords to add in keyword search volume and difficulty as well. So first off, the similar pages action. So this is a brand new action you're going to start seeing within the platform across your accounts. So you'll probably see this over the next 30 days, depending on when your recrawl is. And it was a complicated action to do this. We've had to use some pretty complex algorithms. But essentially, what we're going to do is flag duplicate content. So hopefully everyone here has heard of the phrase duplicate content. It can be across many areas. Probably what people think of most in terms of duplicate content is where you've got multiple pages on your own website. So this is internal duplicate content. So on multiple pages on your old site, so 2 or more, that contain a high level of similar content. And by content, I mean copy, the words on the page. And what Hike looks at is the words within P tags, those paragraph tags, which is typically how people code words, sentences, paragraphs on an actual page. So the problem with duplicate content is, I think the first thing to say is there is no such thing as a duplicate content penalty. So if you do have internal duplicate content, you're not going to get penalized by Google. But you won't rank as well as you could do, because essentially what you're doing is you're serving multiple pages that look almost either identical or almost identical to Google, and you're telling Google to crawl both of them. And Google's like, why are you telling me to crawl both? And what can happen is if you're trying to rank for a keyword and both these pages are almost equally as relevant, Google has to choose one. Or if they're not completely identical and they're a little bit different, then it might kind of rank both of them. They might not rank as well. So it can lead to cannibalization. It can lead to just not ranking as well. It can lead to crawling issues because Google has to crawl both. Now how this, I'll show you the action first before I get into some detail. So here you go. I've got an example down here. So if we scroll down the hike actions right at the bottom, let me move my big face out of the way. We've got this. Here you go. So alternative to SEMrush, these pages are very, very similar. And you'll see here. So you've got your 3 tabs as always. What you need to do, it's kind of a bit long, why it's important, and then how to do it. So let's go to what you need to do. So it's going to tell you that there are other pages on the website which contain very similar content to this page, the alternative to SEMrush. This is class stupid content and can be harmful to SEO. These similar pages listed below. So in this case, it's just the one. And you'll see here, I've created this just as an example. So we've got the original page here. It's a page that we have, a marketing page where we kind of compare ourselves to SEMrush. And I created, you see it's called alternative to SEMrush. And I create this page, which is alternative to SEMrush test. And you see I changed a couple of bits of the content. You'll see this heading 1, so it says looking for an alternative to SEMrush, and then searching for an alternative to SEMrush, and then changed a bit of the content below. And then what happened is Hike has picked it up as being the page is very similar. So what Hike does is it grabs all the copy within paragraph tags from the page and then puts them as one big long string and compares the two. And if there's over a 90% similarity, then we're going to flag it, essentially. That's a good rule of thumb for kind of anything above that. You need to get looking to change the content. So yeah, so what do you do, right? It really depends on the situation. What you might find is there'll be instances where you won't want it to be like that. You'll be like, oh, we've reused the same copy. We want these 2 pages to rank for 2 different things. You're going to have to rewrite one of them. You can leave one as it is, but rewrite the other one. You'll have some instances where there'll be pages that you didn't even know existed. So they might be like old template pages, or your website has created a duplicate, your platform has created a duplicate for some reason. So actually it's really handy that Hike is flagging that for you. And in those cases, because you don't want those additional pages, you just want to shut them down and 301 redirect them to the page, what we call there the canonical page, right? Canonical in the sense of just being the main primary page and redirecting it there. So yeah, that's kind of how to do it. So yeah, really important. How this differs, the one question I think we'll probably get is, how does this differ to the other action that we released last month on the back of our Search Console integration, which is Google classifies this as a duplicate page. Now, how it works, right? Google will go to your website and it might see 2 pages that are very, very similar. At this point, Hike will flag these two pages very, very similar. Now, Google will often struggle, and if they're not completely identical, then it will just try to keep crawling both, because it's like, well, they're a little bit different. Maybe this website owner wants them both to exist. So it'll keep crawling both, and you're just not going to rank as well, right? Additional crawling, unnecessary crawling, neither page is going to rank as well as if there was just one page. When you'll get the actions say that Google classes as a duplicate, it's kind of a good thing in a way, because what that means is that Google's gone, well, these pages are so similar, I'm just going to ignore these others, and I'm just going to focus on this one, and I'm going to choose this as the canonical and rank and crawl that one. So that's kind of a good thing. But this will flag anything kind of before that point, because if Hike's flagging two pages as duplicate, but Google isn't saying that it's a duplicate yet, then you know that you're causing ranking issues and crawling issues for your website. So slightly different stages of the crawling and indexing process. You'll want to look at both actions, both very, very important. So yeah, have a look through. You'll see kind of why is it a problem, how to fix it. You've got all these kind of information up here. Essentially what it does is Hike provides a timing for every page that you need to rewrite. So the number of pages times around 45 minutes. There'll be a maximum amount, so it doesn't take up too many of your actions. You still get variety in your actions. But essentially, you have to rewrite those pages. So yeah, that's kind of good. Like I said, it was a real tricky one for our developers to do, because you have to use actually working out duplication between two content documents is really difficult. And you'll see if you've ever used any services online, like content comparison tools, they all come out with different percentages. So essentially we found the one that was most reliable, the algorithm that's most reliable, it's got a very funny name, I can't remember the name. Anyway, so yeah, we're using that. So yeah, have a look out over the next month as these actions start to go. I've been waffling for a long time now, so let me move on. Next, I'm just going to move on to, we've released a new crawler. So the crawler is essentially our spider, our bot, that goes to our clients, our users' websites, crawls the data and brings it back. Now, it's so important for us as a platform, as a SaaS platform, because everything that we create from an action point of view is based on the data we get back from your website, or a lot of the on-site, on-page actions is based on what we get back from that crawler. And we built it a few years ago, we're always building upon it, but it was time to completely rebuild it from the ground up. So we spent a long time. And again, this is one of those things where we've done a lot of development, but you won't really see anything, right? You won't really notice anything. It's not a new feature or anything like that. But what it will mean is we've got a way more efficient, energy efficient crawler, which is great for environment stuff, but speed efficient. So it's much quicker. We can crawl websites a lot quicker with a lot more reliability now. We're running into far fewer timeout issues. We're not being blocked by IPs. We've got loads more solutions to get around some temperamental firewalls. So yeah, and also we're bringing back way more data. So it means we can create more actions moving forward. So for example, this action here of duplicate content, we couldn't have done that on our old crawler. We weren't pulling back that level of detail on pages, whereas now we can. So there's loads more that we can do. So that's the new crawler. And then finally, just a very, very quick one. A couple of just small updates we made. On the keyword rankings page, we have this untracked keywords, which I think now it's probably last month's video. But now if you click on untracked keywords, before you add the keyword, the position URL, you now get the search volume and keyword difficulty. So look, if you've built your strategy and you've assigned your keywords to the sitemap, you'll want to come, and then you come in here and you're like, oh look, here's some keywords that my website's ranking for, which I haven't actually built into my strategy. And you can add them in right here. So you can add them to your track keywords and then assign them, right? Saving you going back and adding them in on the keyword ideas page. But you really need to know, just like you do on that page, what the search volume, what the opportunity is, and how difficult it's going to be before you kind of tick it, right? So, I mean, here we've got SEO software white label, position 13, search volume 110, medium difficulty. That's a pretty good one, right? So I'd click plus to add that. But then moving down, I mean, let's have a look, like SEO Academy, search volume 40, not that high. Position 15 is page 2, but very high difficulty to get there. Is it worth building that into the strategy? Small business SEO strategy, position 20, search volume 40, high. I'd definitely focus on, I mean, you can sort this, go for the mediums and the lows first and move your way towards the highs and potentially the very highs. So yeah, that's kind of, and then also we've included keyword difficulty over here on the competition section. So if we have a look here now, you'll see keyword difficulty as well to have that data. So yeah, that's everything from the platform. The biggest update is obviously these similar pages actions. Yeah, please do feedback. Hopefully you guys find it helpful. And it's a big thing for SEO. You know, if you see these actions, writing content is not the most fun thing in the world, but resolving it can be really helpful. So yeah, do make sure that you do resolve any issues, any similar page issues that hide flags. All right, that's it. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Bye-bye.